If you've been around the Kingdom Rush universe for a while, you know the series loves surprising us. But Kingdom Rush Battles TD game takes things to a whole new level. This time, it's not just about building towers and hoping for the best. It's you and another player going head-to-head on split screen, scrambling to survive waves of enemies while also trying to sabotage each other in the most chaotic ways possible. One moment you're defending your lane, the next you're turning your opponent's towers into chicken coops or dropping extra enemies into their path. It's messy, it's fast, and honestly, it's hilarious. But in all this madness, there's one thing that can save you: your heroes. These are the real MVPs, the ones you'll rely on to hold the line when everything else is falling apart. Whether you prefer tanky defenders, ranged attackers, or versatile all-rounders, picking the right hero can completely change the outcome of a match. So in this video, we're diving into the Kingdom Rush Battles TD game hero tier list to see who really stands out and who might need a bit more love. Let's get into it. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking heroes in Kingdom Rush. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching! The heroes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Agent Brightsteel, Gerald Lightseeker, Grawl, Ingvar Bearclaw, and Hacksaw. You know that moment when you send a hero into battle and instantly regret your life choices? Yeah. Welcome to the section where we talk about those heroes. They are not terrible. They are not amazing. They are simply the, I guess you can use them if you really must, crew. Our glorious B tier. Let us unpack this chaotic bunch. First up, Aegeon Brightsteel. This guy is basically the friend who does not deal any damage during a co-op game, but claims he is contributing by strategic positioning. Aegeon is a tank-type hero who spends most of his time stalling enemies and teleporting backwards to slow down the lines. To be fair, this actually helps slower towers catch up. The problem? He is melee, which means he is always face-first in trouble, and hordes will absolutely bully him. Then we have Gerald Lightseeker, the classic starter pack hero. Gerald is a melee hero with a tiny bit of survivability and a couple of buffing tricks. Nothing that will make you scream in excitement. His kit is so plain that instant noodles look complex compared to him. Useful for the first minutes of play, and then he should immediately retire and let literally anyone else take over. Grawl enters the chat as a tank hero with some pretty decent crowd control. He can stun a bunch of enemies at once, and he also has a funny little area of effect attack that sometimes just deletes enemies based on random chance. Watching it happen is hilarious, until you remember he is melee, and therefore spends most of the battle getting punched, kicked, and stepped on by everything in existence. Next on the list is Ingvar Bearclaw, a melee hero who is basically a Viking druid with a part-time job as a bear. One of his skills turns him into an invulnerable bear, so he can heal himself, which is honestly fantastic. He also summons fellow Vikings who help stall enemies. The downside? His damage output is surprisingly low for a rare hero, and while he is meant to synergize with barracks-type towers, those towers are so strong on their own that he ends up being the least important Viking in his own squad. Let us talk about Hacksaw, the tank who woke up one day and chose violence. He has a surprisingly reliable instant kill skill that works 80% of the time, which is way better odds than anything life has ever given us. His other abilities hit multiple enemies, and his passive skill reduces armor a bit. Honestly, he's the closest thing we have to a melee hero that actually feels impactful. And yet, melee is melee, and he still spends the entire battle absorbing every hit like a walking target dummy. Aegeon Brightsteel, Gerald Lightseeker, Grawl, Ingvar Bearclaw, and Hacksaw all fall into that strange middle category. They are functional, they do their jobs, but every time you place them, it feels like you are one good hero short of greatness. They have talents, they have charm, but they also have the survivability of wet paper when things go wrong. If you like playing risky or you enjoy watching your heroes make questionable life decisions, this tier is your playground. They can stall, they can distract enemies, and sometimes they even pull off clutch moments that make you reconsider benching them. Sometimes, but realistically, these heroes are more like temporary solutions rather than long-term investments. They shine early, they help fill gaps, and they definitely do not embarrass themselves as much as the heroes below them. But you can always feel that something is missing. And usually that something is damage, survivability, or usefulness. Still, there is a certain charm to using them. They add chaos. They add unpredictability. They add that tiny voice in your head saying, okay, this might work. Probably. And honestly, that is part of the fun in Kingdom Rush Battle's TD game. So while they live proudly in the B-tier category, they serve their purpose, reminding us that not every hero can be amazing, but at least these ones are entertaining to watch struggle.
The heroes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Vesper, Aleria Swiftwind, and Deirdre. You ever meet a hero who walks into the battlefield and instantly makes everything feel smoother? Not perfect, not game-breaking, but just right? That is exactly the vibe of our A-tier heroes. These are the units that make you go, okay, now we are actually cooking, especially when the rest of your lineup is doing the bare minimum. Let us start with Vesper, the rare ranged hero who becomes a beast the moment you surround him with ranged towers. His passive ability literally gives him enhanced sight when he is hanging out with his tower buddies, which turns him into the guy who sees everything before it becomes a problem. He also has a mix of single target and area of effect attacks, and if an enemy somehow sneaks up to his face, he even has a melee trick. But do not let that fool you. His real weakness is attack speed, because this man fires slower than my motivation on Monday mornings. Now, let us talk about Aleria Swiftwind, the common ranged hero everyone meets at the start of the game and thinks, okay, she is cute, but is she good? Surprisingly, yes, she is actually a fantastic beginner pick. Her main attack is a solid area of effect skill that hits nicely, and she also summons a cat to jump into combat. A literal cat warrior. Adorable and effective. Her downside is that she also suffers from glacial attack speed, and her main survival method is a dodge skill that triggers less often than your alarm snooze button. When it works, great. When it doesn't, well, may the towers be with her. Then we have Deirdre, the one and only true support hero in the entire game so far. She is the friend who shows up to the group project and actually does the group project. Her whole identity revolves around enhancing allies, restoring their health, and boosting their damage output. She can turn an average team into a wait, why is this suddenly strong situation. On top of that, she has a blessed shield skill she can apply to herself and nearby allies, which is basically her please do not let me die button. And honestly, it works. But here is the catch. Deirdre's greatness is directly tied to the towers you pair her with. If the towers are strong, she will make them shine like crazy. If the towers are weak, she is basically polishing a potato. Her support capabilities amplify what is already there, but she cannot magically carry a bad team. So in a sense, her power is both her ultimate strength and her tragic flaw. Vesper, Aleria Swiftwind, and Deirdre form a very interesting A-tier lineup. They are not overwhelmingly powerful on their own, but when placed in the right setups, they punch way above their weight. They can stun, buff, heal, summon cats, fire arrows, and accidentally save you from disaster without even meaning to. They are reliable, flexible, and most importantly, they make your strategy feel clever rather than chaotic. So yes, a tier is where the heroes live who may not steal the spotlight, but they absolutely elevate your entire game. These are the ones that make you feel like a mastermind even when you are not entirely sure what you are doing. And honestly, that is exactly why they deserve this tier. The heroes in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Ashbite, Icecalt, Barrisad, and Elora Wintersong. You ever look at a hero and think, yep, that one right there is carrying this entire match on their back? That is exactly what the S-tier roster feels like. These heroes are the kind of units you drop on the field, and suddenly the whole game starts treating you like you know what you are doing. And honestly, it is magical. So let us talk about the legends of Kingdom Rush Battle's TD game, literally the legendary units. Starting with the fire-breathing superstar, Ashbite. Ashbite is one of the 3 flying heroes in the entire game, which already makes him the cool kid on the block. No road, obstacle, wall, or awkward pathway can stop this dragon. He just floats over everything like he is above mortal problems. Statistically, Ashbite hits the hardest out of the 3 dragons, even though his attack speed is slightly slower. But trust me, when your attacks look like small-scale explosions, nobody cares if you blink between shots. What makes Ashbite such a good teammate is the passive abilities that boost your entire setup. One passive amplifies the strength of all friendly towers, so your whole map gets a damage glow up. The other enhances your spell damage, which basically turns your abilities into miniature nukes. Add the fact that almost all his attacks are area of effect splash strikes, and you have one of the cleanest mob clearing machines in the game. He also has a single target skill that might just delete an enemy outright, which is disrespectful in the best possible way. The only thing Ashbite cannot do is physically block enemies, because, surprise, Beyond Sinta, Flying units do not land and say, "Stop right there, criminal scum." But honestly, with the amount of damage he dishes out, blocking is rarely necessary. Ashbite's philosophy is simple. If it is dead, it does not need to be blocked. Now let us glide over to Ice Cult, the frosty blue menace. Ice Cult trades some raw damage for faster attack speed, making him feel snappier and more reactive than Ashbite. While he may not hit as hard, he certainly hits often, and in tower defense, both approaches can be deadly. His passives make him a perfect partner for magic towers, boosting their damage so they can melt enemies even faster. Well, freeze them technically. Everything in Ice Cult's skill kit screams crowd control. Slows, freezes, stuns. He basically turns the battlefield into an icy parking lot. Enemies crawl forward at the speed of regret, giving your towers extra time to annihilate them. Watching an entire wave struggle to move while Ice Cult taps them with freezing blasts is one of the most satisfying things this game has to offer. Of course, the same aerial drawback applies here. Ice Cult cannot block enemies physically, because again, he is too majestic to walk. But when every enemy is slowed to a near standstill, blocking becomes more of a suggestion than a necessity. Ice Cult simply does not give enemies the opportunity to get anywhere meaningful. Now, let us talk about Barricade, the dragon equivalent of why choose between strength and speed when you can have both? Stat-wise, Barricade sits right between Ashbite and Ice Cult, taking the best of both worlds. He hits almost as hard as Ashbite and almost as fast as Ice Cult, which already places him in the "oh no, he is perfect" category. But the real spice comes from his passives. Barricade boosts the maximum health of friendly units while reducing the health of enemies. That alone is rude in a beautiful way. His kit offers extra gold generation, fear-based crowd control, explosive attacks, and even summons golems to fight for you. He does everything except make coffee, and honestly, that is probably coming in a future update. Just like the other dragons, Barricade cannot block enemies because he is too busy soaring around looking fabulous. But this dragon embodies the idea that offense is the best defense. Why block something when you can erase it from existence instead? Now let us descend from Dragon Heaven and talk about the absolute queen of non-dragon dominance, Elora Wintersong. She is the only hero of epic rarity so far, and trust me, she earns her title. Elora is a ranged damager mixed with heavy crowd control, which already makes her leaps and bounds more reliable than most melee heroes who spend their time getting punched in the face. Elora's entire identity revolves around slowing enemies and chipping down their health. Her skills and passive leave a damage trail wherever she walks, meaning she literally melts enemies simply by existing in their general direction. And if you keep her moving in a small loop or safe zone, she stacks damage like it is nobody's business. But here is the catch. Her movement speed is painfully slow. Ironically, the queen of slowing others is extremely slow herself, which makes positioning her safely a priority. You want her leaving trails of destruction, not accidentally waddling into melee range like someone who took a wrong turn at the store. Together, Ashbite, Ice Cult, Barricade, and Elora Wintersong make up the absolute top shelf of Kingdom Rush Battle's TD game. They are powerful, consistent, and capable of turning a losing match into a highlight reel. Whether it is burning, freezing, exploding, debuffing, buffing, or simply outranging everything on the map, these heroes do not disappoint. And that is the magic of the S tier. These are not just good heroes. These are the ones you build entire strategies around. When you pick them, the game suddenly becomes easier, cleaner, and way more stylish. They do not just win battles, they make winning look effortless. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.